You realize every Wednesday when the women's pro bono comes here, they normally bring us someone new, someone special, someone different. Yeah, they always get the best, the best, the best, the best, the best. I don't know how long they can keep giving us the best, the best, the best. So today we have a number of age groups here. We have people who are ranging from the ages of 19 to 34. Just there, that is the estimate there. 19 to 34. And the groups, he will be in charge of the feeder activity. But he always comes with the women's pro bono activities as well. So they're not only, I know it's called Women's Pro Bono Initiative, but it's not only about the women. Yeah. So this evening, I think I will invite Miss Esther, who is in the back there, to come and do honors of giving us the agenda of the evening. And feel free and feel comfortable, the team from Women's Pro Bono Initiative, to be with us at Cavendish. You're welcome.
Good afternoon, all. I'm called Esther. I'm a legal volunteer from the Women's Pro Bono Initiative. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, Mr. Joel, and a very good afternoon to you, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Esther Nachitende. She's Esther Ngobi, but I'm Esther Nachitende. And we are very happy to have you today for our very first Brownbag session. As Mr. Joel had earlier informed you, we do these brown bags with Cavendish University, and we had our very first introductory brown bag with the young one last month. And we're very happy to come back to share the same knowledge and the experience. Today we have a very, very special person. She is Miss Rose Wachikono. My apologies for pronouncing my boss's name in a very improper way. Rose, I seek your forgiveness. Forgive me before the students, so that when we go back to office. But Rose is a very, very special person to us, the young female lawyers. She is one that has dedicated most of her time to understand gender issues and everything related to that. She is also our Deputy Executive Director at the Women's Pro Bono, and a very, very good mentor, I should say, to very, very many young female lawyers. At office, we also call her Miss Vibes because she's full of joy and happiness. So someone that is going to speak to you is someone that is very rich in the field of gender, but also understands other things, and she will be very, very happy to share with you. So please join me in a hand clap to welcome Miss Rose.
Thank you so much, Esther. All is not forgiven. I can't believe after years of working together, you don't know my second name. Yes, I do need it to come a bit. I like a good pulpit so that I can feel like a pastor. Praise the Lord. Let me get it up just on the side. Thank you. Thank you so much. I have papers, but I need to. Sorry about that. So, good afternoon. Are you still students? You know, sometimes at university, you want to differentiate yourself from secondary school students. They're like, am I really a student? You're just at the cusp. I'm about to become independent. Not yet. I'm just there. The government says I am of age, but I'm still calling my parents for money. Things are hard, but be away with you. So my name is Rose Wachikona. I am a Mgisu by tribe. I come from Bududa, hailing from the mountains, hence my height. People from the mountains are usually quite short, and I ascribe to that. I accepted myself the way I am. I am a lawyer by profession. I've been practicing law for the past 13 years. I was called to the bar in 2013. So that is when I walked up to the chief registrar and signed the roll. One of the best days of my life. I was so excited. Yes. Oh, girl. The Advocates Act also tells me that I can qualify to be a High Court judge. I don't yet have the social capital because you need to know someone up there so that they can pull strings. But one of these days, whatever they are doing in Supreme Court, I'm going to reverse everything. Yes, I have decided. Yes, I came from Makerere University. That's my alma mater. And I am very excited about that. Although I'm also happy to be here and see how other law schools also. Are you as spicy, as sassy? Are you as vocal as people the other side? I want to see. Today we shall know. I also have a master's in law from the University of Pretoria. I studied very hard and passed. I'm looking forward to becoming doctor. So I want to do an LLD. I'm still thinking, should I continue? I break the curses in my family. We don't have PhDs. How comes? I should be the first. Tumlove. So that I take it back to the mountains and show the ancestors that your daughter is here. Yeah, she's ready. Of all the things she has brought for your PhD. I know they'll ask for other things, but those ones I will not give them. I have refused. Yeah, so that is me in a nutshell. I also work with the Women's Pro Bono Initiative. I'll not bother to introduce Women's Pro Bono Initiative because I'm sure you know exactly what we do. Does anyone want to know what we do? You don't know. You don't know what Women's Pro Bono Initiative does. Esther, come and tell these people what Women's Pro Bono is and what we do exactly.
So Women's Pro Bono Initiative is a feminist organization, but not only an organization, but also a legal clinic. So we provide legal services, free legal services to women in aspects of gender. We usually deal with cases to do with family, property for women, but not any women, but vulnerable women. We also do research in a number of things related to gender issues. And we do a lot of work around sensitization on human rights and any gender-related issue. As you can see, that is our vision. We desire to have a society where women and girls are free from any form of discrimination and violence. And that's what we push for everywhere that we go. And we also do mentorship for young women, but also men, because we also have a program that encourages men to engage in women's thing, what they call positive masculinity or positive male engagement. So that's what we do at the Women's Pro Bono Initiative.
So you've understood a little bit? FIDA is our sister. I'm also a FIDA lawyer. I'm a member of FIDA, although I rarely pay my subscription fees. You know, every year, especially now for me who is the senior, I'm supposed to pay 200,000 shillings. And you know, January comes with its own challenges. So when you look through the wallet, you're like, maybe next year. But every time they rise up, we also rise up and join them. Those are our siblings, and we appreciate them as such. So please also continue attending FIDA's engagements. Everything they say, we concur and agree with. So that is me. Yes. FIDA is another organization for women. It does almost the same things that we do, not much different. So I think they have a chapter at Cavendish. Yes. During the orientation, everyone was here, and I saw them there. So FIDA is almost like our mother. They are the big ones. And even as a student, you can apply and join as a student. As a student, you only pay 50,000 for the FIDA chapters annually, not every, so that you can participate in their mentorships and do all manner of things there. So yeah, that is me in a nutshell. I have done a lot of work. I started off my career working in private practice. I did a lot of commercial law, land, but after some time, I was like, it's not giving me vibes. I don't wake up in the morning and I feel my stomach is, I need something I'm passionate about. So I switched after 5 years in my career. And starting from 2017, I have had a huge focus around the intersection of laws and women. So they told me today that I should come and talk to you about feminism. I said, you people, you're deceiving. We sent Maria Alessi last year to teach you about feminism. What happened? Told me, Maria Alessi came. She told people very strange things. They got chamketed. It was too radical. I said, what do you mean it was too radical? I said, let me go and find out. So I want to come here and hear from you so that we can educate ourselves. For me, I'm more of a teacher more than anything else. And the way I teach or the way that I talk to people is I hear back from you. Then we can correct some myths, misconceptions, do a bit of exercises and see where we are going. So that at the end of it all, I don't want you to adopt feminism as an ideology. That is up to you. What I want you to do is to find the base upon which now you're going to build a professional career. For me, my base has always been feminism. So I start from there. But there are so many bases upon which you can build. And I'll give you a few building blocks that you can start from and see where to launch from and where to go from there. But at the task at hand, what is feminism? I want to hear from you. What is feminism? Don't be shy. There is no wrong answer. You must all know. Should I start choosing at random? You're fearing? Yes, sir. Behind. What is feminism? What have you heard? What are those things that you have heard about feminism? By the way, I'm also a feminist, but I will engage in dialogue with non-feminists. Yes.
Thank you. I'm called Luoa, here for semester 2. To me, feminism refers to the social political movement that is manifested to fight for the rights of women and also to ensure equality between the two sexes. Thank you.
Okay. Very difficult definition. Can someone break it down? Not a wrong one, but a difficult one. Can someone else give it a go? What have you heard about feminists? What do you know about feminists? Yes?
Feminist movement is simply the protection of the rights of women in the society.
Protection of their rights? Only women?
No, not just women. Gender-based rights.
Okay. Gender-based rights. Closer? Who else? What do you know about feminists? They told me Maria made you very annoyed. I want to hear why. What was it that she said that tickled you wrongly? Okay. This is what we are going to do. Because I want to hear back from you and not just give you a lecture and a talk. What you're going to do is you're going to turn to your neighbor, 3-3, as you are, per line. You're going to discuss what you have heard about feminists. What are those things? What is feminism? What do they look like? Do they all have bald heads? Do they hate men? Are they banning bras? Like, what are they? Who are they? And then from each group, you're going to give me feedback. I'm going to give you just 5 minutes. Actually, those are many, 3. Discuss. Each line, I'm going to come to you. The other line, I'm not seeing you talk. If you don't know your neighbor, introduce yourself. Now is the time. You can shake hands. That could be your future husband. Please, don't ignore him. Have you finished discussing? You need more time? I didn't say exchange numbers, I said exchange information. So can I have the mic coming up here so that we can start and I hear from everyone here? Since they seem to have a lot of data, I am expectant.
Should we start?
Do you need 30 more seconds? Are we good? So let's come back to the room. Please proceed. You can introduce yourself and then tell me what your discussions were about.
Do I have to stand?
Yes, if you want to.
Okay,
I'm comfortable.
I'm Komhibo Susan, president of the Cavendish Law Society. What we discussed is a feminist can be a man or a woman. They basically advocate for equal rights. That's for gender balance or gender equality. That's it.
Gender equality as primary, yes. Next line. Proceed.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Salemba Joseph.
Can we listen?
My name is Salemba Joseph. I'm in year 1-2. According to our discussions, actually, feminism, first of all, comes from the word feminine, which means female, or that gender for the female. Then feminism is a spirit, and actually it's a spirit.
An evil spirit?
No. Okay. It's a spirit, it's an inner spirit, eh? Be it evil or holy, maybe. But it's a spirit.
A good one.
Yes, a good one, okay. It's a spirit that
half.
Pardon?
Is it half bad, half good?
Okay, it's a good one, eh?
A good spirit.
Yes, a good spirit. Okay. So it's a spirit amongst people, let it be women or men. However, it's more pushed by the females, fighting for equal rights for women as for men. Yes, that is it.
That was
she also has a compliment.
Yes, please.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Mercy. According to my own understanding plus our people, feminism is equality between men and women, but not spirituality of one over the other.
So not placing one above the other, balanced, okay? Yes?
Hello.
Hello.
So what I thought, and they agreed with me, is that feminism before it was a socio-political movement or equality and everything. It's basically a mindset. Anyone can have it. Like she said, whether men or women, they both can be feminists. It's not just tied to women or girls. It's also fighting or standing up for women's rights and equalities to have the same privileges as men, whether it's in anything, actually, in any field, in job applications, in parenting rights, in managing households. Basically, everything can be tied to feminism if it's not an equal share. And nowadays, even if you said that, why do you talk to this woman that way? Like, if a man is rude, you ask him, why do you talk to that woman that way? They'll be like, oh, you're a feminist. So it's kind of been overblown of proportion, and it's just something simple. So that's that.
People are overdoing it, yes.
Good afternoon. My name is Waswa. According to our simple research, feminism is a range of political, social, and intellectual movements advocating for the social, economical, and personal equality of all sexes.
That sounds like Google.
Don't really.
It's okay, please
Then
proceed.
a feminist is a person who advocates for equality. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Yes.
Good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon. You can call me Rose. Tonka dia nchali mto.
Okay. According to us, we have discussed feminism as like it aims at fighting or for ensuring that women are really treated in a fair way within the society, and that its goals is to promote equality, social justice, and empowering women, more so women, since according to our society, there is a women override. But then I think nowadays, maybe how the gospel for the feminism is preached, there is always really empowering women to go now against the let me say the Bible or even the family setting. Yeah, because if you look, as you have discussed, this is not from me alone. Like there are some.
You, okay. Amma, it's your neighbor. It's not you. Please. What did your neighbor say?
Yes. Okay. Remember, within in the beginning, God created man and woman to procreate.
Allegedly.
Okay. To procreate.
You have refused the allegedly. It is the truth. Okay, remove the allegedly. It is the truth. God created man and woman. Proceed.
Yeah. To procreate. So it means within the family, the woman is there to at times be submissive, not to be submissive.
Okay.
To be submissive.
I'm not refusing.
Yes, to be submissive. Then also the man to also do his role within the family.
Yes.
That's how the family will move smoothly. But then I think that the gospel is being preached to the feminists. You may find some of them at an earlier age when they are not like within the, okay, they
don't want to submit to those men.
Yes. I don't know why. Just giving our ideas. Let me stop there.
No, they are good ideas and correct assumptions by and large. Yes. Yeah. So again, interpreting it in the sphere of religion
take it so personal
and family
at times. Yeah, they overread.
For sure, sometimes we are too much. Even me, I agree. As a feminist. Yes, that line, please proceed.
Yes, my name, Apumza Ignatius. I'll be so brief because a lot has been said already. So I think it is advocacy of equality, economically, maybe politically, but not at home.
So at home we can't be equal?
It can't be, naturally.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Madam Rose. According to our simple interaction with my neighbors, feminism is basically the belief that men and women should be treated in the same way, equally in the social, political, even economic affairs. Like, let us say if it's the woman who has the credentials of leading a man in a particular aspect, then she can lead. Yeah, that's it, basically.
Okay. So centering it in the role of leadership and what leadership looks like. Must we always be led? That's just food for thought. Must you always have a leader? Like one person. We need Museveni, or else Uganda will fall apart. We need to think about it. Because, it's all about critical thinking. And what I want us to do is to challenge some of those perceptions that we maybe have. You have to look at yourself and ask yourself, who is leading me? When I wake up in the morning, I brush my teeth, I bathe. Do I need someone to tell me all that and lead me to the bathroom and lead me to the toilet and lead me to eat my food? Do we always need a leader? Anyway, this line here.
Thank you
with
so much.
Jasper, I've told Jasper before. Although he left unconvinced, I don't know why.
I was convinced. How are you?
I'm good.
That's great. So in my team, for us, of course, we agreed that it was a political and social movement, courtesy of the jurisprudence that we study. Those who are in year 3 can adduce that it was a political and social movement that came from the West, of course. It was spearheaded by some serious women who are saying that women have to be equal to men. And in their assertion, they were like, anything that a man can do, a woman can as well do it. But now in Uganda, feminist women in Uganda, unfortunately turned it around and said, what a man can do, a woman can do better. Now, I remember vividly.
Sometimes.
Yes, I remember vividly the discussion that we had with Council Maria Alessia. She challenged us and she was like, you see, everything that a man can do, even as women, we can do it. Where is it written that it is supposed to be a man always on top? And now noise was everywhere in the room. And she was like, then women can do it as well. Anyways, for us in my group, we are like, a feminist movement simply means that women have to be equal. And for some radical feminists assert that they have to be more equal than even women. That's where the challenge has come in, to the extent that it was feminism that came with the women emancipation. Thank you.
Yeah? I want to sit on your heads and finish you. Yes, you have introduced a new thing that we need to talk about, radical feminism. Okay. Yes, the next line.
Good afternoon.
Why have you jumped the other ones?
We were discussing together.
You are 6. Okay, it's fine.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Oindamola Abigail. So our group, we defined feminism as basically just creating a more equitable society regardless of the gender, because I personally don't believe in equality. I don't believe we can be equal. There are things a man can do that a woman can't, and there are things a woman can do that a man can't. Like men can't give birth.
Like
so
all women collectively, or just individual women? As I come here, I'm Rose. I have a master's in law. You don't have a master's in law, do you? There are things I can do better than you. We are both women, aren't we?
Yeah.
Aren't we two distinct beings?
Yes, we are.
Okay, proceed.
Yes, personally, I don't believe there can really be equality, but
Yeah,
I think
that
there can
is
be
very true.
Yes, I think there can be equity, like treating everyone with respect, fairness, and dignity, regardless of your gender. So I believe that's just what feminism is about.
Yes. Very correct. Again, deconstructing the idea of equality, which we have to do, because no two individuals are the same. What I can do, another person can't do, regardless of whether I am female or male. So you can put 2 women here and give them rice to cook. One person will cook the rice so well, and another one you fail to eat. They are both women, but their skill sets are completely different. Women are not a monolith. Men are not a monolith. What I mean is that not all women are the same. Some have big boobs, others have big nyash, others have straight, others have curly hair, others the hair is like that. Mine looks exactly like that, but a bit longer. So we are so different. Others are light, others are dark. So you can't say all women are good at this. Like, it can't be. Otherwise, in my office, I wouldn't have women who are charged with child neglect, saying that all of us naturally can look after children. Some women don't like children, and they actually mistreat them. And police arrests them and throws them in jail. We've seen the social media videos. So why do we assume that every woman is a nurturer when they are not? Why do we assume that every man is a leader? Yet some men, they look at you. I've dated a few. Look at you and wait for you to lead them. And I happily lead them. Wherever I want to go, they follow. Until I get tired, I'm like, this is not working. Go and find another leader. You know them. They are amongst you. So those assumptions is what I want us to challenge and criticize, so that we can look at ourselves not just as women and men, but as individuals who each have something to offer the world, whether it is a wonderful cook, a wonderful mother, a good and wonderful lawyer who appears in African Court of Justice like me. Like, everyone has something to offer. So asking yourself, me, Rose, aside from the fact that I am a woman, I am a lawyer, what do I have to offer this world? The next line. Yes?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
For me, feminism, it just advocates for equality between female and men.
Thank you. Again, equality coming up. Yes?
Good afternoon. So what me and my colleagues came up with is that feminism is a political social group that advocates for equality and fairness between the men and the women, for example, in opportunities and stuff like that. Thank you.
Social political group, very difficult concepts. I don't usually like them, but yes, it's a group.
So in our view, it's more of advocating for it's more of advocating for women's rights. At some point, it degrades the females, especially the men.
So men feel degraded by feminists.
Because it is more based.
Okay. There is a history to that. But I will not descend so much into the history as to why the focus has been on women the most. So all your answers are correct. Clap for yourselves. You are wonderful students. And what you have said is actually the truth. So feminism is largely the advocacy for equity, equal opportunities for men and women, all genders. So what you're looking for is that I shouldn't be stopped from doing what I want to do because of my gender. So if I am a man and I want to cook food for my family, I should not be stopped from entering the kitchen and preparing a nice, sumptuous Sunday lunch for my family. Because the culture says that men don't step in the kitchen. But you love cooking. Why are you being forbid from entering and cooking a meal for your family? It's about saying that if I am a man and I want to look after my baby, bathe them, nurse them, put them on the back, sing to them, read to them a bedtime story, I should not be stopped from doing that. That if I am a woman and I want to become the president of Uganda, all chances should be availed to me to become the president of Uganda. So it's all about equal opportunities and removing the limitations based on gender. All these things that we construct in our brains, that a woman can do this, she cannot do this. Some women cannot, others can. Those who can, allow them. Those who can't, allow them. That is what feminism is about in a nutshell. So it's about taking away those barriers from people fully expressing themselves. And the reason why men sometimes feel degraded, it's because women have come a long way in terms of women emancipation. and breaking these barriers, they have reinvented what womanhood is. The way womanhood looks like for me is not the way it looks like for my grandmother, and it's not the way it looks like for my mother. My mother had two options. She either had to be a teacher or a nurse. She chose to be a teacher. And when she had children, she had only one option: to leave her job and look after her children. That is how society told her she had to be as a woman. And she did all that. But now for me, it looks different. It looks very, very different. Women have reconstructed what womanhood means. They bring money to the houses. They have high-end careers. You know, the CEOs of MTN, the Stanbic one became a man. She used to be a woman. Then they changed. It's now a man. But they have held very high political and economic positions. But men have not reinvented what manhood looks like for them. The way manhood looks like for men today is what it looked like for my father and for my grandfather. So that inability to change is what is causing the challenges that we see right now, where you feel as if one sex is being pitted against the other. So the challenge we always give to men is reimagine manhood, the same way women reimagined womanhood. Because you're not going to stop girls from going to school. And as long as you educate a girl, you open up her brain to possibilities beyond just motherhood, children. Like, she begins to dream. For me, when I went to school, I said, you mean I can pay for myself a ticket and go to the US? I can go on holiday on my own. I can make my own money and it comes to my bank account. Like, the possibilities became endless. So to imagine myself shrinking back to that person who just sat and demanded for sente z'akameza, it may not be possible. And many of the educated girls that you see, even in this room, that type of life may not be possible for them, however much they may wish for it to be. But there is something that education does to you in terms of opening up your brain. So not to dwell a lot on that, that is just what feminism is about. There are three pillars upon which feminists fight. The first one is around economic autonomy. What we are fighting for is control over your resources, control over your money. You know, we live in a capitalistic society, don't you? Everything moves with money. Capitalism is also a system of oppression, but we are going to go to those later on. In capitalism, you have to control your resources. If you don't control your resources, someone else is controlling them for you, and they will make decisions for you. So our agitation is to make sure that everyone has a piece of the cake. Where you are at right now, are you economically empowered? Of course, now you're students. It may be very difficult to imagine, but you have to reach a point where your finances are in your control. There is nothing as tragic as a woman who comes to my office after being a housewife for 20 years, and the man has found a younger, thinner, hotter woman, and he has moved on, lives you with all your children, and is like, go away. I no longer want. She has no bank account. She has no land. She has nothing. Then we have to go to court and plead for her rights. Oh no, she bathed for children. She cooked his food, ironed his shirts. She deserves a what? A portion of what the man has to offer. There is nothing as humiliating and degrading as that. And then the court is like, that you had a maid. That means you are not doing the housework. Then the man says, that woman was just sitting at home. I don't know why she claims she was doing all that. But 20 years of diminished earnings, even if you're to say, okay, let me rejoin the workforce, at what level are you going to join? Are you now going to start fighting with the interns for opportunities? You cannot. So the ability to control your resources is one of the biggest things that as feminists we fight for. Whether you are a man or a woman who is controlling your finances. Some of you men, it's the women in your lives. You get money, you don't know where it goes. You get money, you don't know where it goes. Others just play video games the whole day and wait for the woman to provide for them. You're not in control. I handled the divorce like that. The man used to just sit, video games the whole day, drove the woman's car, lived in her house. After 5 years, she was like, me, I'm tired. Sijja bisobol. She chased him out of the house. Then he started crying. He had to go back to his parents' home. Then the parents came to plead, please take back your husband. What? She's like, no. As I speak, she's remarried to a man who has money. And him, he's still with his parents playing video games. So that ability to control your resources is one of the things that we always agitate for. Pushing people to be in control of your finances, be able to earn, and also distribute the money the way you see fit. Because it's one thing to earn. Some people earn but can't distribute by themselves. They have to call their parents. Hey, daddy, I've now earned 1 million shillings. What do you think I should do? What do you mean? Don't you know what to do with your own money? Distribute it the way you see fit. If you want to give it to church, kindly give it to church. No one should disturb you. The second thing that we agitate for is voice and agency, the ability to speak up. You must always be able to speak up and have your say. Whether what you're saying is nonsense or it is sense, it is okay. Speak. Let people hear you. Let them see your heart. Say your words, of course, not words of abusing people, demeaning and humiliating them, wanting to embarrass. No, but if you have something to say, put up your hand, say it. But voice and agency also means that you have the right to be in decision-making spaces, where if there is a council that leads maybe this law school and there are students, are there women there in terms of the decision-making? So again, having them in political positions, that's why we were very sad when they nominated 8 candidates for the presidency, but all the women candidates were thrown away. Apparently, they had no signatures. I signed on like 2. Maybe it was me who... Are you supposed to sign on more than one? That's another question for another day. But all the women candidates were thrown away. Where is our voice, our ability to participate in decision-making spaces? When you go back home in your clan meetings and they are saying, oh, the women are in the kitchen cooking, how many of you have participated in those discussions? Sometimes they are even discussing you. They say, hey, that child has gotten spoiled. They ate all the school fees. We need to do something. But you're not part of the discussion and the decisions that ultimately come out. And the last thing that we agitate for is bodily autonomy. Bodily autonomy is the ability to control your own body and make decisions concerning it. Who to have sex with? Do I want 1 person or 10? It has to be your own decision. Going on to contraception, family planning, the right to give birth and have children. You know, some people are stopped from doing that. They are forcefully sterilized, especially people living with disabilities. They're like, also you, why are you giving birth? Who will look after those children? So the ability to control your body, make medical decisions also becomes key and critical. We were handling a case one time of a woman who went to have a C-section. No, she went to give birth. So she reached the hospital and was travailing. Oh, the labor was intense. So her and the husband quarreled. The man switched off his phone and went out of the labor suit and disappeared. So after 2 days, the doctor told her, the child is tired. We need to do a C-section. And then the woman said, but the person to decide is my husband. I can't decide for myself. The doctor told her, no, you can't decide. Here, you are the one to say, I can't make this decision independently. So she refused to have the C-section. The man's phones were off. After the 3rd day ended, both her and the baby died. Inability to make independent decisions concerning your own body. So these are things that we have to critically always look at. When you're thinking about feminism, just think about those 3 pillars and lead them back to yourself and ask yourself, am I economically empowered? Can I speak up when I need to? And do I have control over my own body? Some of you were circumcised when you were babies. Have you confronted your parents? Tell you, how dare you circumcise me before I come of age? These are things you never ask. You just take it as if it's for day to day. Maybe we can file a test suit and see whether we can challenge parents for circumcising babies. You never know. It's something that can happen. So when you're talking about feminism, you have to look at it in the context of the patriarchy. You can't talk about feminism without talking about the patriarchy. What I had mentioned earlier is we always have a system within which we operate. Every one of us, you have a system within which you operate. Sometimes the system is capitalism. You know what capitalism is? Demand, supply. It's about the money economy. Do you know what capitalism is? People are looking at me as if they actually don't know. Can I have an answer around capitalism? What is capitalism? Someone explain to us. They have notes. Yes, Jasper? Yes. So that is it in a nutshell. Capitalism is where an individual owns their resources. There is also an aspect of socialism, but we shall not descend into that. Capitalism is what is running the world right now. The bulk of actually almost all the world is run against capitalistic ideals. Even countries like China that still say they are under communism, not really. Most of them, it's now under capitalism. So when capitalism, you're talking about it, it's those who have money are the ones who have access to opportunities, resources. That's why when you're applying for a visa, you have to submit your bank statement to show that you have something. When you're going to buy land, you must have money. When you're going to get health care, you must have money. When you're going to get an education, you must have money. That is capitalism. Those who have access to resources. So in that way, you can place yourself in this society of Uganda. How valuable am I? How valuable you are depends on how much is on your bank account. That will determine what sort of resources you have access to. The other system that we have is the system of religion. All of you here were telling me, God created me. No, your parents had sex and you were born. That is what happened. But also God created Adam and Eve. So for some people, that is their belief system. So that belief system is upon which they build their values and their ideals, how I'm going to live my life. This is how God says women should be. This is how God says men should be. Even in the Muslim faith, they have a specific way women are supposed to be and a specific way men are supposed to be. So if you're a woman or you're a man, your religion will then dictate to you how you're going to conduct yourself in society. So also that is the system within which you operate. Some people operate within religion, others operate outside religion. So what is true for one may be wrong for another. So we have different systems within which there is the political one, where we have, if you're part of NRM, then you can become a judge. If you're not part of NRM, you cannot become a judge. So as who are in people power, like, nedda. So we are here praying for can I say it on camera? I cannot. I have stopped there. We have very difficult prayers we are making to God, and hopefully He will answer them one of these days. But you have to understand the system within which you are existing. So when we are talking about the patriarchy, it's another system that describes how women and men relate in society. So the system that we currently have is that men are leaders, women are submissive, and children are also submissive. So it's constructed along the parameters of the nuclear family, where you have man, wife, and then children. So children and wife are usually put on the same lane, and then there is a strong, I wish I had a pen I would draw for you. And then there is a straight line leading to the man. So the ability of the man to control his wife and to control his children, that is the patriarchy. So if he's to control, how is he going to control? How do men control their families? Tell me. You people are saying men are the leaders. How do they lead? Using what? Words. Financial decisions, so they control finances. Yes. What else? Yes. Centralize. The final decision lies with him concerning everything. Okay. How? Do they have guns, pangas, tear gas? Mm. 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 Yeah. He's going to be one of those that show up, which is good. I commend it. That's a wonderful thing. Yes. So they show up for their children and make decisions concerning the welfare of the child. Yes, I have understood that. How else do men lead? People say they are the leaders. How? We want the practical. You men, how do you lead? You're preparing to. Some of you are married. Who is married here? Married people. How do you lead your homes? Yes? Yes. Mm. Mm. Mm.
Parent might ask you, where is your husband? A man is usually going to be asked where are your buildings, but men's opinions, even while we are growing up, women want to be recognized more by the men that make even their opinions personally outstanding in society.
Okay. They have superior opinions. I don't know if that is leadership, but yes. How do men lead? Yeah, they do. Violence. Some are actually big bad guys, and
Yeah, like I said,
you should
some
see
of them,
people's
not all
faces
of
after
them.
domestic violence. It's
Yes,
terrible.
not all of them, but a lot of them are like a lot of women are trapped in marriages because they're so scared of, oh, how if I ran away or if I took my children, how would my husband react? He might kill me. He might hurt my family. He might do like the possibility is higher than it should be.
That is true. So they lead by intimidation, sometimes violence. How do women submit? Women are like, us, we shall submit to our husbands. How? What do you mean? By demanding sente za kameza? What do you mean by submission? You say yes to whatever he says. How else do you submit?
Keeping the peace, just
You
not
keep peace?
usually they don't aggravate the man like, oh, you want food? Okay, the food is coming. Oh, you want to sleep? Okay, I'll open the air condition. They just
You want
try
to have sex?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
is.
like usually aggressive men are like overgrown toddlers. So you just give them whatever they
Call them
want.
children.
Yes,
big
you
men.
just give them whatever they want and they'll be happy. So that's how most women are
So you concede to
handling
their
the situations.
wishes. Okay. That's a wonder. That's also how you submit. Yes.
In response to her, I feel women should submit. It depends on the context. Just respect. That is what most
Submit to who? All men or
no,
one
not to
man?
all men. To the husband. Men
And if you
just-
don't have?
Yeah.
If you don't have?
Then to God.
Yeah.
Or to your
It is
fathers.
true. We need to submit to God as Christians. Yes.
I have something to say on
Yes.
that. Many Christian men try to hide misogyny behind religion. So the Bible, before we talk about, you're talking about Ephesians chapter 5 and all that talks about submission. Before they talk about wives submit to your husbands, they said each person should submit to one another. So husbands are actually supposed to submit to their wives, and wives are supposed to submit to their husbands according to the Bible. But many men like to cherry pick Bible verses to suit themselves and their ego. Thank you.
But they are the leaders.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry.
How do women submit? Yes.
In response to what I said earlier, I feel men are egoistic in nature, and you can't actually take that ego away from men. So most men will feel threatened when you challenge that ego, when you challenge their own place as a man.
Let's not
It is
attack
our
him.
nature.
Mhm.
It's our nature. Okay, look at the animals now. Let's give lions as example.
Let us stay away from the animals.
Okay, I'm just like saying
The
basic.
other time I was seeing a TikTok of two boy animals doing. Let's leave
Yeah,
animals
I'm
out of
just
this.
bringing it as a scenario of like how nature really designed men to be. Like,
all men. Because I don't want us to be trapped in a box of thinking that every man is like you. They are not. They are not.
Yes.
Yes.
They are not.
You're not the same as your father. You're not the same as your grandfather. They are all unique, beautiful individuals with their own strengths, their own weaknesses. So when you talk about nature, like everyone is uniquely natural in their own way.
Yes.
So what you can do, another man cannot do. That is why Usain Bolt, when he runs, he wins so many other men. Otherwise, all the men would be. I can barely do sports. From a young age, I tried. I did basketball, I did netball, badminton, but I was so bad at it that I was never asked to join any team. And yet my sister, she was always wonderful. You're not the same as the man seated next to you.
Yes.
Let's not trap ourselves in that box. Otherwise, you can't spread your wing and see what are those things that are unique to. What's your name?
Destiny.
To destiny. What are they? What are those things? Not because I'm a man, but because I am an individual, beautifully and wonderfully created in the image of God.
Yes. And yeah, I understand that we are all uniquely made. That's why I feel it depends on which man you are with.
Yes.
You can't actually like have that assumption that not all men are like this.
Yeah.
Because definitely you can be in a relationship with a man that needs that respect, but then
Yes.
you are not giving to him. Then that is when he acts the way he's, because there are some men that are really insecure.
That's true.
You can't just have that opinion that okay, that I should do this, I should not do this. That's why it depends on who you are with.
Very correct. So women, you've told me you submit by conceding, by keeping the peace. That's it. But these ideals, yes, how else do you submit as a, okay. Are you submitting now? He told us we only submit to God or husbands. All other men, no submission.
Okay, according to the African culture, to some tribes, now like a girl child or a male or a woman, when you're greeting or serving, you're supposed to kneel down. So if you don't do it to someone will say, this girl is disrespecting me. Yeah.
Very true. Yeah, we do kneel. Even me in my culture, I kneel for my father, my grandfather, my mom, I kneel for her. My sisters, I refused, even if I'm the baby. That's when I said I draw the line. Enough is enough. So some cultures demand it. Yeah, that's another way of showing submission. Any other way? Yes. You wanted to say something?
In my view, it is in my own understanding, on the basis of customary marriages. If I'm to marry her, for example, I'll go to the dad. So the dad has been provided. So the dad will hand over her to me. So I come in emergency issues. So the subordination comes in.
Okay. Because of the handover process between father and husband? And that is more of a church thing, though. Although also the Western cultures, they do that. They hand over the girl to the father. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So culturally, during the ceremonies. I understand you. Yes.
Mine is something, it's like an argument because, of course, we're talking about feminism. And Jasper was defining or telling us where this started from. My argument is this one kind of culture that is foreign to us as Africans that we are trying to embrace? Because the question is, how did our grandparents live their lives peacefully with their husbands and raise children? And, okay, maybe we would say times change, but all the time I keep thinking, like, how did this come to, like how did it come down here to Africa? And now we're trying, like you said, did you use the word redefine or reimagine? For us as ladies, maybe we would reimagine ourselves because we are comparing maybe ourselves to the men. But the men have no, like, if they are to compare, it's then to the women, and it is considered like a perversion. You understand? When a man begins to behave like a woman.
Because usually women's issues and things are considered
Yeah,
inferior.
you pointed out that men are supposed to reimagine if they want to. But, like, reimagine themselves to what? Do you understand? What's the image that they have to reimagine themselves to? So for me, it's like, it's a conflict in my mind that I keep thinking, this feminism, we're embracing their culture. Like you said, you mentioned in your own region, you have to kneel down. Whereas us, we have. Even I can't. Even when you go to kneel, like, no, you can't do that. So I don't know. Maybe you need to help us on this.
I can't help you for sure.
Because you're talking about feminism. You're talking about feminism. Because we need to truly understand.
I do understand, because, again, you're trying to ask whether it is a foreign concept that was introduced into our society. What I want us to know and to understand is that what is African culture? It was already interrupted in 1882. Yeah, it was already interrupted. And there were so many things that were introduced that were not there before. Right now, what people define as African culture is actually colonial culture. So this thing of one man, one woman, married in the same home, man is head, woman is... African culture, by and large, it had women-specific spaces where women had even leaders, and they could overturn even the decisions of the entire clan. And then they had men-specific spaces. But everyone had a way in which it complemented each other. And we moved from that into what they introduced as the colonial system, where they brought in religion and then redefined the roles for men and women. Many women, if you go back and read the history books, they redefined the role of women in African society. That submission, it was never truly part of our culture, because women had their places. There were areas that were a no-go for men. For example, issues of childbirth, child rearing, they were a no-go. It was always the preserve or a woman. But now that also changed. So now again, we are trying to reimagine, okay, now what does African culture look like for us in 2025? I can't deceive you that I want to live my grandmother's life. I don't. My grandmother lived a terribly, terribly difficult life. Very, very hard. She would work from morning to evening, gave birth in the garden, half her children died, and her life was miserable. My grandfather had 8 wives. He was a cult leader. Like, I don't know. Like the burden that she had to carry, I do not want to carry it. If that is the culture people are asking me to go back to, I don't want it. But what we can do moving forward is we are still here. We are still Africans. We still live on the African continent. How do we define culture for ourselves right now? What does it look like for us? And that is maybe something that we need to throw back to you as the younger generation, because as our times are fast spent, some of our dreams may never come to pass. But how do you imagine life as a young person? So my time is going, it's running faster than I had thought it would. How many more minutes do I have? But as Esther whispers to me the time maybe and writes it on a sheet of paper, what I want to discuss, when you look at every system, you have to look at who has power, who has access to resources, who has the ability to make decisions. And that is what we query in the patriarchy. So she tells me about 20 minutes. So I will try. So you have to interrogate power. If you don't interrogate power in your relationships, in your society, in your community, even within your families, then it's war unto you. Because when that power flips and turns against you, then you'll be vulnerable. And that is how we end up with so many women in our offices. It's because they don't really understand how power works and how to navigate it and how to protect themselves when they are in that particular system. So the different ways in which we can exercise power is, the first one is power to the ability to do something. I am literate, I can read books. So the power to read the book, the power to use a smartphone, the power to talk, speak in English. It means I can speak on a wider landscape. That ability to do things, you have to define it for your own self. What am I capable of doing? And you have to harness that power. Because you find very many people, for example, maybe I can give an example, like this woman came to the office and she was like, oh, this is a person that Esther handled. And she came to tell me the story. So the woman went and decided to go to, I think it was a cult, and started living there, and there was a prophet. And now the prophet started tickling her in order to be a bit more sensitive. But he was having an affair with her. Then she had 2 daughters, and the prophet started also sleeping with the 2 daughters. And so you're asking yourself, where is the power to walk away? The power to discern that this is a bad situation. The power to protect your own children in that. And in her, as she's telling the story, she doesn't recognize that she had the power to do all those things. And that is one of the saddest things that we see with a lot of women. They are unable to tap into that ability to do very many things and take themselves away from bad situations. The other one is the power over. The power over is what she talked about: coercion, intimidation, where you come here and because you have money, you're throwing money at people so that they can have sex with you, where you are raping someone, you just see them on the street. We have another case like that. Someone had gone, they were standing on the side of the road. The man just grabbed her from the street, took her to the bush and raped her. Just like that. Like, who does that? And then he just throws her there, and then she's limping to the police. She doesn't know who he is. He doesn't know who she is. Like, it's just a mess. But that power that you exercise over other people, we also see it amongst employers, employees. Your word as an employer is not a suggestion. It's usually an order to your employees. So when you look at even your family structure, is your word an order? Is it a suggestion? Is there a dialogue within your family? Even if you're to say, yes, I am the head, God ordained, as written in, I don't know the chapter that you mentioned, First Ephesians. You may know it as First Peter chapter 3. First Peter chapter 3. Yeah? That you are the head of the home. The wife must submit to you. Is there a place for dialogue? Are you listening even as you're dialoguing? Are you taking into consideration what your wife is saying? Are you implementing and realizing that maybe sometimes she's more clever than you actually are. Or are you just passing decisions? And sometimes men want to think that they make decisions independently, but many of them are influenced by friends, by family, and maybe the decisions they are making are not best for their family. So that is power over. The power that you exercise over people, not because they want, but because you can. Either because you have money, you have physical strength, you have position in society. For example, when Museveni told all of us, we have locked down the country, stay at your home, we had no choice. Even if we wanted, even if we didn't want, we had to comply. So that is power over. Another one is the power with. Power with is the collective power, which is what many feminists use. So this is when you come together as a group and do something. You see it with the traders when they passed IFRIS and they were saying, all of you must put IFRIS. They came together and striked and they had to take it down. That time when they said, oh, we are going to institute traffic penalties on cameras, people stood up and protested and they were struck down. So there are very many things that you can do as a collective. The other one is the power within. Power within is more around your self-esteem, building yourself up to exercise power too. That you must do starting now. Otherwise, you will reach my age and you won't be able to do very many things because you don't have that inner, you haven't built that muscle internally to be able to do certain things, to be able to speak up, to be able to push for opportunities, to be able to challenge yourself to even do a PhD. Until you build that muscle right now, where your dreams are this small, you must make them bigger. And last is power under. Power under is what most women exercise because of how we are socialized. So this is more of exploitative, manipulative. Like a person doesn't come to you. Men exercise power over a lot. So they will directly exercise their power over you. But women, it's more of, I don't know how to call it. I know it in Luganda, but could you like that underhanded? They go through the other person to go through the other person to hurt you. Then you're like, but I thought we are friends. And you don't know where it all came from. So it lacks that element of direct confrontation or direct control, but it's about exploiting, manipulating. That's how you see, oh, every time my wife has sex with me, I know she wants something. There is an element of manipulation and an element of control. So that power under is also there. So for us, what we try to do is to push you to build your power to, and your power with, and your power within. Your ability to do things, your self-confidence and your self-esteem, and also your communities within which you do your advocacy. So you must build communities, whether you're building your community in church, or you're building your community in the feminist movement, or you're building your community with your friends. You must have a community within which you collectively do things. And that is something that you have to ask yourself and continuously push yourself to do. Your self-esteem. Again, as I said, you're not limited to one thing. And we are going to do an exercise to just show us, the different things that you can be able to accomplish, even as an individual. So this is an exercise. It was developed by Johns Hopkins University. It helps you to understand yourself and your place in society. You can choose one and push behind the rest. So we are going to take some time. And within that time, you're going to fill in this particular, it's called the wheel of identity. So this particular wheel of identity helps you to understand yourself. Remember what I told you? We all exist in different systems. So you must know this system, what does it treasure? And what does this system consider as unimportant? And then you rank yourself, because that will determine your access to opportunities and your access to resources. It also helps you to show, okay, this is what I need to have in order to survive in such a system, or this is what I need to deconstruct in order to get out of this system. So we are going to, it has 2 layers. The inner circle just has your name. The middle circle is what pertains to you as an individual. Then the outer circle is with you and your community. What does it look like? So you're going to answer and fill in inside those different tables. So, for example, if they say age and you're 19 years of age, how important are you in Uganda if you're 19? In a culture which is ageist, the older you are, the more respect you get. Young people are usually, then you understand then where you are. If you're talking about things like, do you have a disability? Are you able-bodied? Or you have all your legs, arms, you talk properly, nothing wrong with you. Put it there. Your emotional, mental well-being, there are some people who have mental health issues that they always have to deal with. Don't worry, you're not going to share this. This is for you to reflect on your personal life. Language, do you speak more than one language? If you speak more than one language, usually you can reach more people. If you just speak English, like many of the Gen Zs that I see, and you don't speak a single local language, it means you're limited in the ability of people that you can reach. For example, for me, this speech, I can give it in Luganda, I can give it in Lugisu, and I can give it in English. But how many times can you communicate the same thing? What audiences are you able to reach? Your nationality. Are you Ugandan? Are you American? You know, some people are born in America and they have US passports. So their ability to travel expands. Uganda, apparently, you can only visit over 32 countries without visas. The rest, you have to hustle. Even on the African continent, you have to hustle. Just going to Ethiopia, it's as if you're going to, to heaven. Bring this, bring that. So put your country there. Your race, are you black, white? Biracial, I'm not seeing any biracial people. Most of you are black here. Your ethnicity, I am Gisu like me. Your class, are you part of the Musevenis in Uganda? No, your uncle may be so dear when we don't know. Or is your father and mother, they grass? Looking for school fees every day is a hassle. So let's take some time, answer the questions. If you don't understand anything, please put up your hand and I will come and help you. Let's do that for like 2 minutes only. So where there are blank spaces, there you're supposed to note maybe an identity that is not covered. Maybe there is something that you feel is important about yourself but cannot fit anyway within the topic. Are you done? You filled in? If you're done, put up your hand. What don't you understand? What is not clear? You should know yourself enough. The first answer is usually the correct one. The first answer is the correct one. And you don't have to paint yourself in the best light because this is yours. It's for you to reflect on and see where you are in society. So as you're filling in, can someone tell me what are those identities that most impact how you live your life? What are those identities that most impact how you live your life? So after you've written, you reflect and see, this is the thing that impacts most how I live. When I talk about living, I'm talking about access to resources and access to opportunities. Your dream is to be the president. What would be some of those considerations that are considered most important? You understand? So can I hear from a few people? Yes? Who has the microphone? Yes, what are those identities that most impact how you live your life?
How creative I am.
Really?
The creativity.
Your level of creativity?
Yes.
Are you sure? In Uganda?
No, but I feel like, okay, you need to be able to do a lot of things in our society because of opportunities can come, and if you're not ready, they will pass by. So you need to be able to learn skills.
So what are those things that make you ready for the opportunities?
That's what I'm saying. What makes me ready for those opportunities? How creative I am to put myself in that position. How quick I am to adapt to that environment.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know creativity was such a huge thing. That's a very idealized way of looking at the world. Yes, any other person? What are those identities? Your neighbor, you can just pass the mic to her.
Okay, if I understood you. Okay, according to my own understanding of your question, I think what's mostly impacts like how I live my life
your
is
access to opportunities and resources based on the wheel.
Okay, first of all, how I live my life in terms of like moral belief and ideology. I believe it's my faith, my Christianity, what I believe in, my family upbringing. I grew up in like a strict African home, and the amount of opportunities that are available to me, I think it would depend on my educational background, like how I'm pursuing an LLB degree at Cavendish University, Uganda. I think it will broaden my opportunities, and getting engaged in like different clubs, different opportunities, which will build my connections. So yeah.
So when you're talking about the issue of faith, how important is it in terms, because here when you're sitting and you're critiquing, you're not critiquing as you're critiquing as someone who is seated across and I have your opportunity. I want to give it to you. Consider it to be like a job interview. What are those things that I'll consider important? Do you think your faith would be important to me?
Not to you, but I believe to me, like, for example, it's not every job opportunity I'll be able to take according to my moral standings and my belief system. So, yes, but I don't think it may be as important to you if you are working in terms of being non-discriminatory and stuff. Yeah.
Because what I want us to understand is that usually the barriers to your opportunities and your success is not you. You know, many people have this, because of this self-actualization and these self-help books, they tell you wake up at 4 a.m., run quickly, what. But you're not the one who has your opportunities. You're going to apply for a job. Someone will look at your CV. They'll either decide to take you on or they will drop you. You will join the workforce. Someone will work with you and either decide to take you on or drop you. Now, all those people who are making decisions concerning your opportunities have what we call internalized biases. Until you understand the internalized biases that exist in society, you're not going to be able to break through. Because you can work on yourself as much as you want, but until you convince the person who has your opportunity, you cannot make it. So that necessitates you to look at something that is beyond yourself. You must look at your society. You must look at how people think. You must go on social media and see their views and know that this is what they consider important. So, for example, if we are to say education and background, and you're in Uganda, what is considered most important? Is it an educated person or an uneducated person? An educated person. Up to what level? Up to a PhD, up to a master's, up to a degree. See, these are questions now you have to begin to ask yourself. But then you realize that the person who will get the most opportunities in Uganda are people who are educated. When it comes to maybe, if you're talking about your faith, beliefs, values, and your ideology, and you say you're a Christian, and you've applied for a Muslim organization, how important is your faith? Do you see how it plummets? So what other people who have your opportunity, who have that thing that you want, or if I'm even to say, okay, I'm selling myself here as a wife, I'm not selling myself to be a wife to myself. No, I'm selling myself to be a wife to a husband. So how is that person perceiving me? And that is how the person will decide whether to marry you or not. Or if I am here and I'm hunting for a husband, I'm looking at all of you, I'm like, okay, the other one is in a suit, not so bad. The other one, color near them and drive them mad. That is also okay. What are your internalized biases? So it's less about looking at yourself. This exercise is less about looking at yourself and what you value as important. Because especially when you're young, and this is very, very unfortunate, especially when you're important, because you haven't yet grown to a level where you can exercise your agency, your bodily autonomy, and also your economic independence. It's now at that level that you can say, the sagala. But you're always going to find yourself in a situation where your opportunities and the things that you want are dependent on other people. So this particular wheel of identity is supposed to help you place yourself in society and see, where do I need to improve? For example, if we are talking about languages, and you know that speaking nowadays, when you want an international job, especially in Africa, they demand that you should speak at least 2 of the dominant African languages. So that's either English, French, Arabic, or Swahili. Which of those languages do you speak? Only English. So now you start eliminating yourself from regional jobs. Or you ask yourself, can I go to Francaise Alliance and start learning a language? Do you see where I'm going? There are things you can't change about yourself, things like race. You're black, you're black. Even if you bleached, you remain black. That one, you can't do anything about it. So how then do you navigate the fact that you are black? There are other things you can't change about yourself. Things like geographical location. You're in Africa. You know Africa is at the bottom of the barrel, right? We're at the bottom of no one wants us. Japan is chasing. US is chasing. In Europe, they are striking for Africans to get out of their country. No one wants you. Now, even people who are like, hey, let me immigrate and I go. I leave, I get a passport of, they are even saying, now let's start cancelling citizenship. We are tired of the multiculturalism. Let them go and work on their continent. Tubakoi. What are you going to do? You're African, you're African. That is something you cannot change. So how do you navigate that shortfall? And you know, sometimes you can never know you're African until you travel. And then everyone is looking at you weirdly, and then everyone is like, it's another vibe. I don't even know how to explain it. So until you reach there and you're like, okay, I'm supposed to be the expert in this room, but everyone else seems to be the expert. Because for you, you went to an African university. You may treasure Cavendish and say, oh, this LLM is going to give me many opportunities, but you'll carry that LLM to the UN and it will be underlooked. Why? Because you obtain it from the African continent. So these are things that we have to look at and come to terms with. So it's less about how important being an African is and more of how the rest of the world perceives you, because that is what interferes with your opportunities and your access to resources. And let me tie it back to what I was talking about in feminism. When you are a woman or a man, there is a way that society perceives you. For you, you may wake up and say, I'm very important as a woman. Since I wear a woman's body, I will use that as an example. I value myself. I'm so wonderful. But is the rest of the world perceiving you as important? Is the rest of the world perceiving you as worthy? Is the rest of the world ready to give you those opportunities that you so desire, that you want to seek, that you want to get to? And what is limiting you? Sometimes you're limited because you're a woman. Sometimes you're limited because you're black. Other times you're limited because of where you come from, Uganda tribe. I don't want to be political, but if you're from a certain tribe, you have better access to opportunities. Not because of anything that you've done, but because of where you are born, who you are, what you are. So when we are agitating for feminism, it's to try and remove some of those barriers. That's why in the feminist discourse, we don't just touch gender, we touch race, we touch capitalism, that even the poor should be able to afford health care. They should be able to afford education. What is good for the rich should be good for the poor. If we are all driving on the road, then at least for us, put for us public transport so that I can move from point A to point B and do whatever I need to do. Let my food be affordable. Why should a kilo of meat be at 15,000 shillings? That is madness. Some people are earning 3,000 per day. In most of those factories, they pay you 3K, 2,500 to 3,000 per day. And then you're expected to buy a kilo of meat and feed your children and take them to school and pay for their health care. Why is our world like that? So for us, we want to deconstruct all those oppressive systems. Whether it is capitalistic system, we want to deconstruct it so that everyone has access to resources. Whether it is racism, we want to deconstruct it. My degree, even if it's obtained from Africa, is just as good as one that is obtained from the UK. Why is your knowledge more superior than mine? My languages are just as important as yours. Why are you insisting that I must always communicate in English? So it is to deconstruct. I was going to say another one, which is contentious. Issues of religion. Deconstruct the way that they view the world, the way that they construct it, and find a religion that works for everyone, that looks at all human beings as equal. Because if we are to say, okay, men are superior, that means, okay, also whites can be superior. Why? Because they are white? Because I have a vagina and you have a penis? How unique is that? These are questions we need to ask ourselves. So for me, it is to leave you with this exercise. For me, what it always helps me to do, it helps me to see where I need to improve. If there are skills I can add on, yes. If there are things I can't change, then I fight the system. Things like being a woman, I can't change. That like I like being a woman, I enjoy having breasts. That's it. So therefore, any system that stands in the way of me existing as Rose in this body, I will fight it. If it is racism, I will fight it. If it is sexism, I will fight it and submit to no man. If it is capitalism, I will fight it. And that is feminism in a nutshell. Fighting systems of oppression. So my last thing to you, even as I wind up, is to think through what are those systems that you feel oppress you, that stand in the way of your access to resources. And I know this is a big ask, especially for university, where you're a bit idealistic and you look at the world with a bit of rosy glasses. But there are things you also see and you're like, this is not fair. What pushes that thing to exist, even when you know it's not fair? As they are beating NOP supporters, the NRM ones are having their rallies. Why is that fair? That NRM should be able to campaign openly, but NOP can't. Why? So when you ask yourself, you're like, let me fight that injustice. So for me as a feminist, my day-to-day is just to fight injustices, whether they show up in the form of gender equality, racial inequity, capitalism, and the economic inequity. I fight all of them. And I never win most of the time, but sometimes, every now and then, because the women's movement has moved a journey, and it has moved a long, long journey. And when I look at a room and I see a good balance of men and women, I know we have come from far. Because there's a time when girls couldn't go to school, but now, see, here they are. Now men are looking for women to submit and who are uneducated and they can't find them. Even when I go to court, most of the women you'll find have stopped at least in S2, S3, maybe S4. They have a level of education. At least they can count, read, and write. So for me, I feel that is a win. And there are strides that have been made. So does anyone have any questions for me? Yes. Yes, please.
Thank you, Rose, for the discussion. My question may come in the aspect because for all you have said, I feel like it's relevant. More so, if like a girl has gone to school and they've really made it, they've put in a lot to reach where they are, more so in those working sectors. But then let's first come back to the family basis. Yeah, the family basis. So how, like, I want to put in my suggestions, but then I just want to hear from you. Like, how can all this, what you have said, like a feminist really balance their feminism in line with the family so that they don't bring like, because I personally have ever heard of a story of a lady. I think she felt like she was too much. So she does not want the man. She gave birth to like 3 children, but then, okay, all of them in different men. But then she doesn't want also the children to know about their father. She feels like, okay, she has the money, she has everything, but then the family, to some extent, it failed. Yet we want all this together. Yes. So how can a feminist really handle properly together, like the family bit of it?
I'll answer all of them at once because it's 4. And I think one
Yes, thank you very much. First of all, I would like to say that most times in our society is not basically the other side that is doing the discrimination. Sometimes it's we ourselves. Like, take it to example, I go to a bank and then a white person enters. The bank is run by Africans, but we give more attention to the white people than we our fellow guys. And another example of how we also discriminate ourselves. I know some people will argue with this, but let me ask, it has to do with relationships. Why on a first date, why is it the man to make the moves first? Why can't you, the lady, make the move first? Exactly. Now
They want to be seduced. You're here just sitting. Send him a nice flirtatious text.
Exactly. There's no rules that dictate that it has to be the man to show the romance first. Because for me, I really don't. Because there are some guys right now that they don't really know how to make the moves. So, so how? So that creates a kind of conflict because some guys will feel, okay, I have to learn how to be romantic, and before you know, they pick up some bad habits. So that is. No, I'm like saying, what's stopping women from making the moves first? It does not have to be. Yes. I'm not.
It's not necessarily ego.
You know,
I
like
will
ego.
answer.
It's not-
It is okay. I understand you. I have your back. Yes? He has a hand up.
Thank you. My question is, okay, this is a personal question, and it goes to you, not as a member of the Women Pro Bono, but as personally, as Rose. What's your view about the notion that women should be allowed to get married to more than one man?
But I'm on TV with my view. It is there. But I'll answer it as well.
Okay.
Any other question? I think there are no more questions.
So that's it. I was such a good teacher. You all understood very well. That makes me happy. Okay. So I'll start with what he asked. That one is an easy one. I don't believe in polygamy. Standard. I don't believe that any polygamous relationship advances equity, be it for one man with multiple spouses or one woman with multiple spouses. There is no equality in that relationship. I just don't. But that being said, as is, Uganda has laws. These laws allow for polygamy to exist. We have the Customary Registration Act, Marriage Registration Act, we have the Mohammedan Act, which allows for polygamy. The polygamy it allows for is only for a man to marry more than one spouse. My standard is the Constitution. Article 31 states that there will be equality before, during, and upon dissolution of a marriage. So when you say equality, what do you mean? That if a man can marry more than one spouse, then I, as a woman, I should equally be allowed to marry more than one spouse. But as a standard, even internationally, if you look at the CEDAW, that is the Convention on the Elimination of Violence Against All Women, when you look at the Maputo Protocol, which is the African Charter on Women's Rights, they all promote and advance monogamy. You cannot say there is equity in a relationship that has multiple spouses. You just look at distribution when you die. When you die, and I am maybe one of three, all my property will go to you as my husband. But when you die as my husband, all your property has to be divided against three spouses. That is not equal. Another one is around sex and consortium. If we are three and you're one, it means all my days I am available to you for sex. But you, I am only available, you're only available to me 2 days in 1 week. That is not equal. So that's where I come from. Polygamy and me, never. I saw it with my grandmother. My grandfather died alone. All his wives ran away from him. As soon as their children would grow, they would go and live with the kids until my grandfather remained alone on his deathbed. and died, a very lonely man who had 44 children and 120 grandchildren. Alone. That is polygamy. I'm not a believer in it, and I will never, ever be. That is my personal stand. But if they allow for it, then even us women, mutukirize, as you're messing and taking your community pennies for everyone, let me also make mine one for the community. What's good for the goose must be good for the gander. So for us, what we are pushing for as the women's movement is for the removal of polygamy. Polygamy in itself as a practice must be prohibited in our country. That's what we are pushing for. The other question, what do I think about women taking lead? The challenge is socialization. Even me, I'm a big proponent. I am a big proponent. Sometimes I wish I look at a cute guy and I'm like, let me shoot my shot. Then I remember how I was brought up and all the what? The courage defeats me. Women are socialized in a different way. The way we are brought up, even the way men are brought up. Sometimes men don't take our advances very well because of the way they were also brought up. I was like, how does a woman seduce you? Like even them, they look at it as alarming. So even where women want to, they can't because of how we are raised. So we may have all these ideals in our head, but the way you're brought up plays a very huge role in how you're going to act later on. I was brought up in a very traditional, my father is a very traditional man. Sometimes he looks at me and asks my mother, where did you get that child from? If she didn't resemble me, I would demand for a DNA. Because the way I talk is so weird. And my sisters are so different from me. I have 3 sisters. All they are traditional, submissive women. And I love my sisters so well, but I'm just like the oddball in the entire family. So the way we are socialized sometimes prevents us from doing things that we would have ideally loved to do. So me, my upbringing plays a big role in how I respond in society. Sometimes I may want to raise my voice and bark and run around and assert myself. But then I remember all the times my mother was telling me, keep quiet, don't talk back, sit down, go and cook food. What, like? Then I find myself reverting to default settings. Many of the girls you see here were socialized in the same way. They were brought up to be told, you don't what? You don't chase a man chases you. A man must pay for the first date. So these ideas are so deeply ingrained in our brains that to break through from them, it's almost impossible. So you also have to learn your society. Your society is full of women who believe men should chase. So either you wait to be chased, which may never happen, because all the women may look at you and think you're cute, but won't have the courage to pursue you because of how they were brought up, or you decide and chase. And maybe you'll be able to hook one and get a wife, or even multiple wives if you want. So it is the unfortunate bit that our ideals, the things that we want, sometimes we are unable to put into practice because of how we are raised, how we are brought up, and the societies within which we live. So that one is there. How do I balance feminism and family? Like, feminism is not anti-family. I know many feminists who are married happily with children. I know those who are single. I know those who are single mothers. I know those who are. Feminism is the ability to live life at your own terms. If you want to marry, submit to your husband, be a housewife, it is okay. Feminists, we shall support you and applaud your decision, because we believe in the agency of a woman, your ability to decide that this is how I want to live my life. I have seen all other options, and this is the one I have chosen. My question comes when I come to you is, how protected are you under the law? I will never question your decisions as a feminist, except if they are hurting another person. But my question is always, is the law extending sufficient protections for you? That is why I go to the marriage bill, the Marriage Act, and I ask myself, does it consider women who are at home looking after their children who haven't worked for 20 years? Is it considering unpaid care work? Is it considering maintenance, custody? Like, all those things now come into play. And women will never know they need these laws until they need them. until your husband wakes up and runs away from you, or until he beats you and you runs away from him. So for me, I don't mind how you live your life as a woman. It's your prerogative. Do what you want. So I usually don't like the juxtaposition that being feminist is being anti-family. That is not true. Feminists are pro-family. They are extremely pro-family. But they want women to exercise motherhood with dignity. That you have the child and are able to raise that child in a world that supports you. That they can have an education. They can have health care. That your husband just doesn't wake up and run away and leave you with all the children and you have no solution. So feminism caters for those extreme eventualities when a relationship does not work. But how you conduct your relationship, feminists really have no say. You can be the submissive one, he can be the submissive one, you can be the head, he can be the head. That is okay. People run their families in different ways. And no one should tell you that this is how your family should run, this is how it should run. What works for one person may not work for the other. It entirely depends on a person's character and how they live. So feminists are very pro-family. And usually when you see like people with broken homes, don't just assume they are feminists. A good number are not. A very good number are not. Because usually by the time feminists marry, they have decided, and not many end up with broken, but it's about the support that is extended to women, even when they choose to marry, even when they choose to cohabit, because some people may never marry. They may decide to cohabit, but how protected are you in that situation? So for us, when we are agitating for the family, we are agitating for protections. And we know that usually in the family structure, the person who is the most vulnerable is the woman, because they have limited access to resources, to money. Usually they are dependent on their husband. Husbands are rarely dependent on their wives. Maybe emotionally, sexually, yes, but even sexually they are not. They can have a side dish or something like that. So the dynamics of it go back to the question of power. Who has the power in that relationship? And how are you protecting the person who does not have the power? So that is the question I always ask in families when women come to my office. It's rarely who has the head, who has the sub. In divorce petitions, it's rare to find the people discussing whether you are the head and this one was submitting. It's more of he committed adultery or she committed adultery or he's not providing or something like that. Yeah. So that would be my take on that. But we are pro-family. At least me as a feminist, I am very pro-family. Any other questions, or we close it at that? Okay, if there are none, I want to thank you so much for listening to me. I hope you have learned something about feminists and that I have clarified a few of the things that Talesi said that made you very annoyed. But she's a wonderful feminist, a married one at that, by the way. In case you didn't know, I don't think she's submitting to her husband, but she's happy. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Rose. You can please make the clap louder. I am going to invite Miss Susan, the chairperson or president of the Cavendish Law Society, to give a vote of thanks.
Madame Rose and the entire crew from Women Pro Bono, as the students' fraternity here at Cavendish University and specifically at the law school, would like to take this moment to thank you and honor you for giving us your time, your wisdom. I believe each one of us has picked at least something from today's speaking. Thank you so much for having come. Please come again and again. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you so much, Susan. And before we leave, I want to be very sure that everyone has registered. So who has not registered so that I can avail you the registration form? It's full. So those that have not yet registered, you can please show me your hands so that I can. So the rest of us have registered. Thank you very much again for your time. We know that we have gone beyond the time that we are expected to have the presentation, but we are very grateful for the time that you've spared. And before you leave, we are going to take a photo with bros. Yeah. Jasper, would you please come and give me a hand? I need to move this at the side. Yes. Yes, we are going to move to the front. I can please have the registration forms if you're done. Thank you. Oh, yeah.